Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Your Words Not Mine podcast. As usual, my name is Akif.
My name is Hari.
Khairul.
Hi, I'm Vaishu.
So, as for today, guys, we are going to hit on a very interesting topic called identity crisis in the world of today. So, the first question would be, what is an identity crisis, right? So, probable psychologists such as Erickson and James Marcia posited that identity would be developed during the stage of adolescence. So, like for Erickson, for example, he posited that during the age of adolescence of 12 to 18 years old, there will be an identity versus confusion stage where you try to identify, hey, what identity I want to be in life? Whether is it religious peer, whether is it like relationships or whatsoever. So James Marcia, another dude who actually also did implement on this called identity development. So he also mentioned that during adolescent stage there'll be multiple facets in our life where we try to focus on, like maybe for example due to crisis, like crisis development in different stages, where we either choose an identity based on that crisis, or we will choose an identity based of thorough exploration, or maybe we just choose it out of confusion. We just choose it without exploring other options. So bring that context in the world of today, like especially when seeing like on social media and stuff, about people identifying themselves as like animals, as like you know clowns and stuff like that out there. I'm not even joking. I'm serious about it. So like when we look about it, we like question ourselves, why? Why is this something that we should condone? Is it something like we should let it be? We should. So there goes the question, right? So do you guys feel like in a world of today when people are identifying themselves as such unconventional identities, do you feel like they are doing it on a state of like a whim? Like they're just doing it because they feel like it, or like, hey, you know what, maybe I'm this. Or is it really something that resonates with them?
Okay, I have to like ask a question. Like, do you consider since you mentioned about unconventional? I mean, like what you say, like identifying yourself as an animal, that is very unconventional. You don't see that in many societies. But how about like a bit more common, those like LGBTQ? Do you consider that as conventional?
Oh, you mean let's say I'm traditionally a male. I identify myself as a female. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay.
I think the word is biologically.
Biologically, sorry, not traditionally. Because yeah. Okay. If I can be candid, because I really can't. Like. I'm just gonna compromise on a few things. For me, I don't like to overthink it. It's kind of simple to me. I go by the biological term. So if I have biological traits which defines that I am a man, that means I'm a man. So for lack of a better word, if I have a dick, I'm a male. Okay? If I have a vagina, I'm a female. But I really check, and there's seriously nothing down there, bro. I mean, it's just
What do you mean? It's nothing?
Nothing down there.
it's a dick. So I am confident that I am a male.
Ouch.
I mean, going back to your question, like, yes, like gender identity, yes, that is one such part of the crisis, I believe as well. But talking about that, we are gonna go like, I feel like we might diverge a bit into homosexuality. So let's put that part on hold, and let's maybe focus on the extremities. Like focusing more on why they identify, besides the gender part, why they identify themselves as unconventional beings. Like clowns, for example. Wolf, I think you've seen, if you have watched
Okay, wait, sorry to cut
Yeah,
you,
yeah, yeah.
Hari. For those who don't know what Hari is actually talking about, right? The thing is that nowadays kids, I mean in the US, if I'm not wrong, right? In the US, kids can identify themselves as like animals and like I'm not talking about the ones where like we, as in those above like 20s, 25, all like we used to go to class and we like, oh, I'm the lion, rawr, and all that shit, right? But that's not what I'm trying to say. Kids
Now
nowadays
it's
can
really a lion.
shut up.
Like-
Now they will say, oh, I'm a cat. They go to the class and they will for example, if they go up the table and start like purring and like replying to the teacher with just a meow, like ask the kid 2 plus 2, what's that? They won't say 4, they'll just meow. That's it. And it is to be accepted. So like that is what's happening. Because when I heard this first, right, I was like, no way. I was like, huh? Like when he said, no, lah, I'm talking about animals, us identifying as animals. I'm like, yeah, stop being sarcastic to me, Hari. I'm like, that was legit it took me quite a lot of like convincing to like it's an actual issue right now in the world. So now this is the extreme part that we are gonna be talking about, because like it blew my mind. Like I watched this one short clip where this lady was being interviewed and she identified herself as a fox. Like apparently this is what's like her story.
I don't know what it is.
I saw she was watching an anime and there was a fox in the anime.
Must be Naruto.
And-
19 beast.
I know I didn't want to mention it, but like
Kurama.
she saw the fox and she knew that it's her. It was her, and that's it. She knew and she was able to like she identified herself as a fox. So that's one example of how, and I kid you not, it's not a kid that we are not talking about over here. She was 27 years old. I did my
That's a
research.
dumbass fox, my guy. 27 years old.
Yeah, so you see what's happening in the world right now. So like, what the fuck is happening?
I mean, like to pour over that, right? Like the one on the documentary I guys mentioned, like What is a Woman by Matt Walsh. I think there's one interview where he did with a girl and then she said like she could communicate with the wolves. Okay. So okay, it's like not being, of course, if she says she identifies like look exactly like a wolf means okay, maybe that's a bit contradiction like that, right? Like something's like it's not possible. But she said she could communicate with the wolves, and that was something where it took me aback, Like, I mean, if I go communicate with lions, I'll become a zookeeper at this rate.
No. Okay.
Like I can.
Correction. Just now wasn't a fox. It was a wolf.
It was
It was the same one.
thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
She didn't say she could communicate. She said that she couldn't, like, for example, because it was the guy who was interviewing her, right? She said that it's obviously I'm not going to be able to have an interaction that is going to be similar to what we are having to the interviewer, but I would be able to understand based on the mannerism and behavior of whatever the wolf is doing, and she will be able to like, oh yeah,
You know what?
she's happy.
You know how to prove this? You know how to prove this theory? I swear, there's one way to prove it. Put her in a wolf enclosure, right? And ask her to
She's gonna
survive
get
in there.
eaten.
No, ask her to survive in there. And if she survives, you know what? I think I would agree with her. Definitely.
Okay, a little bit of disclaimer that we are not against any wolves. Okay, we love wolves. So Hari,
I love wolves.
you love wolves, right? You sure?
Hari is a lone wolf.
Yeah, Hari is a lone wolf. But
That's my game ID, Lone Wolf 1203.
he literally howls at the moon during a full moon. Okay, in a manner of speaking, right? Do you think it's socially acceptable? Because the argument is that, okay, let's say I identify as a wolf. It has no effect whatsoever to the three of you, right? Like, let's say I live my life as a wolf, all that. You guys just live your life accordingly, normally. It doesn't really, per se, offend or affect your life. So, why is it a concern in today's society? Is it because there is a fine distinction between reality and, I was about to say genjutsu, oh my god, sorry, reality and fiction?
I feel that it becomes a concern when the environment actually helps to induce this type of behavior. If the environment starts to induce this kind of thinking or thought process, sometimes you feel like you see an animal and then you like just curious if you can like try to communicate with it. You just look at it and then you like try to imagine something and then You know, like you just try to imagine something, but that is like a very uh, harmless thing lah, you know. But you know it's not going to be anything. But what if you take that to a different level? Like you feel that you can associate yourself with a wolf, and then you can feel what it's feeling. But is it true, or is it just what you perceive it to be? Because you believe that you are like you are a wolf, or similar to a wolf. You know, that kind of thing. So that, I think it all boils down to like the environment that she's brought up in, and like what actually is conditioned her to feel that way. So if there's that issue there, then it means that the social fabric is not very tight knit, and something that might cause a concern in the future.
So you mentioned whether this would be detrimental to society, right? So I think like going after like what Khairul said, like based on their society, like basically their environments and stuff like that. So I think, I mean, to think about it, like if everybody could identify as something, like I'm not gonna go to gender basis, okay, let's not go there, but like something more than just that, you know, then that would bring, I would believe it would bring social disorder and a lot of unrest in like the world. I mean, let's not start at US where it's pretty rampant. Let's go in a worldwide perspective, right? I mean, think about it. We live our lives every day. Like I would say I'm a wolf, you would say you're a lion, and then how would that raw? how would that go about, you know, like a proper social construct? Then what about religion then? Yeah, like can animals adopt religion? Like, you know? So it becomes like a stage where we can be who we want to be. Like we're watching superheroes movies, bro. Like even reach the stage where people, I won't be surprised if I'm Superman or Spider-Man and stuff like that. Like who knows? Marvel, DC, universe, you know, like yeah, that's a whole new ball game altogether. And I think then like as human beings, like our, I wouldn't say purpose in the world, like, you know, like what we are created for and who we are, that will all be like, you know, just be destroyed. I believe. Yeah, it would be in vain. Yeah, that's the word. So yeah. Why should what do you think?
I feel like to answer the question, right, one thing that just struck me like really big would be the fact that imagine like just now, I think one of y'all asked, right, the same, let's go back to the wolf lady. What if she believed that she was really a wolf, and like she really went with it and ended up spending at just, I don't know, a few hours thinking that, oh, they are family and all that, the wolves, and she goes and she's putting her life like literally, like she's stepping into that, and like who knows whether she makes it out the next day, and that itself is putting her life at risk. And like, you know, it's like, imagine if more and more people are like acceptive of this, like, oh, I'm an animal and I'm like, I'm this, I'm that, and you go there thinking that, oh, you're under the pretenses that, oh, like they are, I'm able to communicate with them, I'm able to, like, you know, like understand them, blah blah blah. And if, like, you know, thinking that we are, as I mean, yeah, humans are equally dangerous, but we'll be able to do something, because, you know, but animals, you can't communicate, you can't do anything, but you go there, dude, you might die. Like that's imagine that being like encouraged, like
Okay.
what.
Pouring in on what Vaishu said, these implications are quite possible and they are real because it literally can happen that way. Like, okay, I'm a wolf, I go to wolves den, I get eaten, bye bye. I identify as dead. Okay. And then also it kind of
just got
leans
that
more, yeah, that's why.
bit slow.
Yeah, you identify as a slow person, it's alright. I accept that.
Shut up.
Okay, diving more into the more dangerous aspect of this philosophy or ideology. Let's say if it's more towards an extremist belief, right? It could be dangerous and detrimental to other people. Okay, let's say okay, I'm just gonna say it. Trigger warning, like terrorist. If they believe in something which is dangerous and considered extreme and unconventional to would I say normal people? Yeah. Like you and me, average Joe, it would be certainly harmful, and that's where we have to draw the line. between what is actually morally right, or yeah, because but in this case it's the wolf is not a terrorist, or like the person identifying as a wolf is not a terrorist. So how does it harm, other than harming her, like she steps into the wolves, then how does it harm other people if the society just firmly exercises and tries to accept this mentality, like okay, we can be whoever we want? Are we saying that we are actually deluded, you know?
Yeah, I think you got a point. And also I think like they are susceptible to manipulation. People can take advantage of this situation. If you identify, if you have a large okay, a group or society that identify themselves as a wolf, then people can just put on a facade and just manipulate these people to behave certainly,
Yeah, I agree. I
input
agree.
ideas, and yeah.
Yep, definitely. So yeah, that's true. And okay, so let's that's interesting part he mentioned. So going back to what he said and previous Kai's point, I would like to ask another question then. So would then culture play a part? Like the way we live in, like come on, think about it, okay? You see US, these extremities in identity crisis, you can see it more in US, see it more in westernized countries. Singapore, you don't have it actually. Like Singapore, yes, we do have homosexuality to a certain extent, but I'm talking about like extreme identity crises. It's uncommon actually. So is it the way we are brought up, maybe Asian culture or Western culture, that maybe give you guys more freedom to do things? Like, culture. And actually that actually explains something. Like it's too much freedom, Yeah, like freedom of speech and stuff like that. So it's important part to look about like culture per se. Does culture really, you know?
Okay, so in America, they always try to exercise like their freedom of speech, their amendments and rights. For Singapore, I won't really quote on our legal laws and everything, but like what you said, Asian culture, right? Singapore is in Asia, it's not in China. I mean, yeah, but we are Asians. Okay, we are more conservative, less rebellious, would I say? So yeah, so if you notice, right, Asians are more like we tend to don't question our beliefs and our traditions. We just kind of go along with it. But the new generation now, right? They try to think more and like really debate on whether these things should be socially accepted. It should be exercised to a certain extent.
Okay, this one, right? I remember learning a little about this in class, in psychology class, which is like the Western countries, they are more of the individualistic culture, whereas in the Asian, the our side, it's more of a collectivism. So we have been like, it's part of our, like, we've been trained, and our, like, we are just conditioned, yeah, that way, that we see ourselves, like, we don't, when I say me, or like I'm not really like putting in as much like personal it's not just me that I'm talking about myself. Like, when I define me, right, it includes my family, my friends, everyone. But in Western countries, when they say me, it means that individual person, and that's why they are able to, like, have such a big, like, divide, and they don't have to, like, they are more vocal about their individual opinions and all that. Because if I were to go and, like, say, oh, I'm a some animal, right? I'm a lion, means like I'm not just talking about me. Imagine, like, from a Asian's point of view, right? I'm gonna be talking about just like everyone that's around me as well. And that is the reason why we are more like it's not as acceptive, like, here, like, as compared to, like, in Western countries.
Yes. Western countries is the appropriate term rather than just America. Yeah. Okay, I got a very difficult question which you guys can explore and hopefully answer as well. So how does this ideology really separates from, let's say, in terms of religion? Because we have been saying all these facts based on science and rationality, right? So religion, we are okay. Most of the religions, like we believe in a deity or higher power, right? So if we firmly believe it, why is there nobody questioning or really going against this narrative? Like per se, somebody goes up to me and says, "Oh no, man, your belief is bullshit." You know?
I think
I don't get your question. Like what?
Okay, let's say let's say I put the wolf example. So let's say I firmly believe I'm a wolf. So the common reaction will be like, what the fuck? You know? But if I say like let's say I'm a Christian or I'm a Muslim, it nobody really questions that. It just becomes like, oh, it's a fact, oh, he's a Muslim. It's normal. He believes in this higher power. Maybe some other person they don't believe in that higher power. It's just different religion, or maybe he's an atheist. But I'm not going to question or aggressively go against my beliefs. You know what I mean?
so what you mean is, like, for example, like you're a Muslim, I'm a Hindu, right? So what I'm trying to say is that as a Muslim you have certain beliefs and certain values you adopt. So what I'm trying to say is, like, let's say, I'm not going to say it is, but let's say you adopt like a particular religion and you have, let's say, certain values or belief that I believe is wrong.
Okay.
But what I'm trying to say is that I do not question you, right?
Yes, correct.
So how is that gonna work in the world? Like,
How is that different from?
how is that different from identity crisis? Okay. So I think to better put what Akif is trying to say is that what he's trying to say is compare between identity crisis of a person and the religion they are choosing, the belief aspect. Yeah. So, because I mean, identity, you believe in a certain identity before you choose it, right? So why can't the same work for religion, right? So, yeah, I think in that aspect, okay, that's a good question. But I think the aspect, because it comes to like the psychological nature of things, right? So, this identity crisis is something to do with psychological nature, the way you are, the way you think, everything in the brain, right? So, religion is something of higher power. So, if you ask me, I think, okay, some of us, because we were born in different religions, like Kai is Christian, we both are Hindu, and Akif is Muslim. So, based on how we're brought up, of course, we will adopt a certain identity. Like, that is how we are. And this is not something we pore over or think about it. Like, identity crisis, we like those, when they reach, like, think they're wolf. Yeah, because, like, logical thinking develops at the age of, like, 13. So, but religion is something we do since young. So, something we can't, unless we question it. We reach a stage where we question it, we're not indoctrinated. Then that would be a point. But comparing to what you said, I think religion is something, the identity of religion, because identity has many facets, right? And religion is one of them. So in that factor, I think definitely we have no choice over. Definitely have no choice over, because our parents will impart it to us. But when it comes to extreme identities, that's something we have power on, because we choose that particular thing. So that's why people question. Yeah, because religion you don't question because he's a Muslim, he's a Christian, okay, because he's a family such a way. So he has certain beliefs and values. You can't question because we respect one another. But it comes to identity crisis where you identify as a wolf or animal, that takes some thought process, some introspection to reach there.
And it's like a new ideology. It's not something ingrained for like thousands of years.
Yes, that's the reason why people start to question, because religion don't question it. Like, yes, there are, I mean, of course, there are religious, small miniature religious wars here and there, but the reason why this took the world by storm was because it's something unconventional and ridiculously unconventional. Sorry if I'll put it, but yeah. So that's the reason why people are like, what is this? People are not accustomed to this. I think, yeah, definitely alienated.
Moreover, I feel that because this is something new relatively, is it something that will stay or not? Also, it's like sometime in the hype,
Will the world accept?
people
is it?
hype this hype thing, like it's something just came out and people just like start exploring and they just feel one kind of closeness to it and they can adapt to it
Is it
or
like?
something.
Do you mean like mass hysteria? Like it's a trend,
Yeah, like
and then
a
it's
trend.
it's like a crowd.
Yeah.
There's a term for it, right? Hari, help me out.
Herd mentality, you mean?
Is it?
Possibly.
Yeah, but I don't think it's like to that extent like herd mentality.
I mean-
it's just like a hype. It's like a general
think
hype.
about it. Okay, so I had this interesting fact. I just want to share that I had this debate in class. So this is one of my modules called Time, Truth, and Condition, or something like that. So I had a debate and I told my professor, I said that, hey, this might be a big thing and I'm afraid of my kids. Like, I'm afraid of my kids stepping into a world where they can choose what they want to be. And that's something I think we all thought about in today's generation. So he mentioned that research shows that this will die down after a few years. But then now psychologists are questioning that very belief. Because if this is a progressive society we live in. We got to accept it. So if you're moving towards a progressive society, things would only got progressive. So would this, like what you mentioned, would this aspect would only grow and metasize into something that's larger than what we can believe in? You know, that's something to question about. Because I'll be blunt here, okay? I'll be blunt here. So this is a psychological construct, the way we think, right? So that itself might be a flaw. The way we are thinking, the way we are processing things. Like, we're not going to question it, like, logically, I believe, then that might be actually a problem. It might be.
Moreover, this type of things happening, it's like, could it be like inherent issues the person is dealing with, like for example, lack of attention, okay, and then like the need to feel unique.
Oh my god,
Right.
yeah.
If you have this
I
need to
love
feel
this.
unique, and then you just feel that it's something you want more than anything else, and then you try to make yourself unique unconsciously or subconsciously. I mean, you subconsciously decide something because that's what you want inherently. Yeah.
To be included in like a community, is it?
Not
Just to
necessarily-
feel
Not
valid.
necessarily a community, because if they identify as a wolf, the only community is wolves, right? They cannot. I mean, they cannot communicate like how they communicate with humans. So I don't think that is something they cherish, because they don't mind being a social outcast in terms of society.
Okay, wait. So I would actually like to answer what sorry, Keith. Keith, sorry.
We're
not
gonna talk about
Kai,
it later.
sorry. Keith addressed just now, which is, why is it acceptable if, like, why is it okay if we are differentiating ourselves with religion, but then when it comes to like us and like being identifying as like what animals, why is it like a big no? Or like, that's my point of view. I'm like, what? My thing is that because even whatever that has been, let me list it down lah. The kind of things that we have like come up with as humans to divide ourselves, right? Which will be religion, race, color. We have our personalities, we have occupations, caste, the list goes on. But whatever that I've listed so far, everything and that whatever falls in this category, it is still within the human species. Yeah, but us going like having a crossover to like being animals, that's like, imagine Superman in Naruto, or even like, it just does
Tread
not work. Like, it's an anime that's like a Hollywood superhero movie. It just, okay, we can say yes, we are both living things. Yeah, both are some sort of like shows that are very good and like very entertaining, but with like powers and super, we can say that. But at the end of the day, these are two different things, and you can't like have a crossover. Like, it just doesn't make sense, because at the end of the day, if more and more people are going to be like, oh, I'm a cat, I'm a dog, I'm a whatever, imagine how like the way the society is going to be shaped in the future, where there won't be a proper distinction between who's human and who's like not
wolf.
like, yeah, because the shit, the it's getting very gray. Like, we can't really put a like we've already come up with so many things to like differentiate ourselves with, and I feel that this additional thing that is kind of just, it's just over the top. Like, I do not believe that humans have always like, we have two legs, two hands. We can, I mean, majority, I'm not trying to say anything like if you're born with it, yes, okay, not it's a very sensitive topic, but like, whatever you are born with, you have a brain as well. You have like whatever that you are blessed with, that's it. And you you don't try to, we've come such a long way from the whole men from the was it apes, right? Yeah. And we've come such a long way from that. We've become humans, and then now we are going back there. Like, what it makes it so? Why? That's the question.
Why is the question? And the answer will be answered in the next episode of Your Words Not Mine podcast. Unfortunately, this is all the time we have for today. Catch us on the next time. Follow our socials and feel free to give your opinions. Yeah. Give the conclusion, please, because I'm all about the social medias.
So as for today, I think we shared a good bit. So yeah, so I guess we learned about what is identity crisis in the world today. I think Vaishu was unaware, to be honest. I think the people out there are unaware about it as well.
Majority, I asked everyone that I
Yeah,
know.
they're unaware.
They did not know such a thing was
So,
there.
Now I'm glad that some of our viewers get to know about it as well. So yeah, if you want to get to know more, actually, to be interested, you can watch like What Is a Woman, right, by Matt Walsh. I introduced you to the archive. You can watch it and get to know more about this, like what are we talking about. So yeah, and that's all for today. So we'll catch you next episode, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.